Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Raisa Mauli Amalia, and allow me to present my essay entitled Resistance in Avatar and Black Panther, a Postcolonial Comparative Study. First of all, the synopsis of the film Avatar. It tells about how humans who come to a planet called Pandora in order to exploit valuable resource called unobtainium. Now, the indigenous people, the local people, which is called Navi, they resist the human invasion because it threatens their land and their culture and their life and also their home. And Jake Sully, the main character of the film, was a former Marine, and his consciousness was transferred to a Navi body, and while he lives as Navi, he gradually understands the Navi culture, and eventually he joins the Navi to resist against human colonization. And then the second movie is Black Panther. Now, Black Panther talks about T'Challa, the main character, which is the king of Wakanda. Now, Wakanda is a nation in Africa which is known by the world as a poor country, but they secretly has a very advanced technology and then the conflict arises when Killmonger, which is T'Challa's cousin, challenges Wakanda's isolation and criticizes the global oppression experienced by the black communities. So Killmonger criticizes how the people of Wakanda is sitting comfortably in secret while black communities outside of Wakanda are being oppressed. Now, the film is exploring about the themes of cultural identity, colonial history, power, and also resistance. Now, the problem identification. Now, both of these films portrays forms of colonialism and domination towards indigenous or local people or marginalized communities. Now, powerful outsiders attempt to control land, resources, and also culture for their own interest or their own benefit. Now, these actions create resistance from the indigenous people or the local communities who struggle to protect their identity, their land, their culture, etc. In modern society, colonial ideologies still appear through exploitation, cultural stereotyping, and unequal power relation. Therefore, these films are important to analyze through a post-colonial perspective. The gap of the study. Previous studies mostly discuss Avatar and Black Panther separately, and many research focus on environmental issues, racism, or cultural representation in one film. However, comparative studies that analyze both films together using post-colonial theory are still limited. So, especially in examining how colonialism and indigenous people resist are represented in modern science fiction films. The theory used is Edward Said Orientalism, and Edward Said explains that Western societies often represent non-Western societies as primitive, uncivilized, exotic, inferior, and needs to be controlled. Now, this representation creates a power imbalance where Western culture is viewed as superior, while indigenous culture are marginalized. Now, the similarities of both of these films, both contains colonial themes. So in both films, there are domination and exploitation done by powerful groups. In Black Panther, it's globally, and in Avatar, it was done by human. And resistance also appear in both films. Both indigenous people fight to protect their people and their culture. And then there's also valuable resources in the film. In Pandora, there's a resource called unobtainium, and in Wakanda, there's a resource called vibranium. Now, both also have a strong cultural identity. In Black Panther, they strongly preserve their traditions and identity. Same goes in Avatar. And then power conflict also appear. In both films, it involves struggles over political and economical power. The differences between these movies, first is the setting. So in Avatar film, it was set in a planet called Pandora, while Black Panther is set in Earth. In to be specific, is in Africa nation, which is called the Wakanda. Now, the main conflict is also different. In Avatar, it is interspecies colonization, while in Black Panther, it is internal and global conflict about black identity and power relation. And then the society representation is also different. In Avatar, it is the Navi or the indigenous tribe, while in Black Panther, it is technologically advanced hidden nation. And then the type of resistance is also different. In Avatar, it is physical war, while in Black Panther is more into political and ideological conflict. And then the main issue is also different. Avatar mainly talks about environmental and territorial exploitation, while in Black Panther, it focuses more on race, identity, and historical oppression. So the conclusion, both Avatar and Black Panther represent colonialism, exploitation, and indigenous resistance through different settings, different types, and different narratives. Now, using Edward Said Orientalism theory, it helps reveal how modern films continue to reflect post-colonial issues such as domination, stereotyping, and cultural identity. So that is all my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. Assalamualaikum.